mosquito with the sporozoite, but that's where we start. We'll end up back there. If it's going to bite you, that sporozoite is going to get into your body, find a capillary, get into your blood, and then that sporozoite is going to be in the blood and go to your liver. And then they're going to enter the liver cells. Once it goes into the liver cells, it's going to go through that multiple asexual reproduction called schizogony. And it's going to form thousands of these merozoites. Both the sporozoite and the merozoite are a type of trophozoite, which is the active eating stage. So these merozoites are going to go out and infect red blood cells. And then the merozoites are going to reproduce in the red blood cells. You're going to go through that schizogony thing again. And then the red blood cells are going to rupture. They're going to release those merozoites. And then those new merozoites are going to go out and infect more red blood cells. Some of those merozoites, though, don't go to red blood cells. They develop into gametocytes. That means that they have male and female sexual forms. And while these merozoites are doing their things, they have waste, while they're making new merozoites, they produce waste products. And so when the red blood cells burst, those waste products produce the characteristic fever and chills that somebody with malaria has. So the mosquito is the definitive host. And so these gametocytes that are now male and female, when a mosquito comes along and bites you, then it can pick up some of these gametocytes from you if you have them in you. And then sexual reproduction is going to take place in the mosquito. The gametocytes travel into the mosquito's intestine, and then they begin their sexual cycle. The gametocytes are going to unite and form a gamete, or not a gamete, a zygote. It's going to form an oocyst, and in that oocyst, then the sporozoites are going to form. And then the sporozoites these sporozoites then are going to migrate to the mosquito's salivary glands. When the mosquito bites you, the sporozoites are in its saliva, and in it goes to you. So that's the cycle of Plasmodium. Plasmodium, the main one is Plasmodium vivax, but there's other species also that forms that causes malaria. So here it's showing you with the mosquito biting you, the sporozoites get injected into your tissues and it's going to find a capillary and get on to the blood supply and into your liver. Here's a picture of red blood cells, and inside these are the merozoites. One left in that red blood cells and a bunch of them in that red blood cell. The second apicomplexa is Cryptosporidium. It causes an intestinal infection. This is a major one right now. We checked for this one too. It attaches to the small intestine lining, and it causes major diarrhea. It kills a lot in third world countries. It kills a lot of children. It's transmitted to human by feces of infected dogs, cats, cows, rodents, and in immunosuppressed peoples, such as people with AIDS, it can be fatal. So if you were going to look for this, you had a patient that had diarrhea and you were going to look for this, you would run an acid fast test on whatever you find, something in the feces, I would imagine, and or you could do a fluorescent antibody test as well. Toxoplasma gondii is an intracellular parasite, and it causes toxoplasmosis. It gets transmitted through cat feces, and it's dangerous for pregnant women. If you get come down with this parasite, it can cause problems with the unborn child, including the child to be stillbirth. So if you're pregnant, you can have your cats tested. My daughter had her cats tested, but if you're pregnant, make sure you're wearing gloves when you check the change your cat box, or get the where you can wash your hands really well too. Ciliophora, it's a ciliate. So there's only one ciliate that is a human parasite. Cilia, if these things have cilia, like Paramecium and this one, they use that cilia for movement, and it also uses cilia to bring food into their mouth. This one is Valentinium foli. It can cause a severe dysentery. And in this one, an ingested cyst enter the large intestine, and they release trophozoites, which which is the feeding form, and then in turn those trophozoites are going to form cysts, and then those cysts are going to get excreted with the feces, and they're going to go out and find new hosts.
Look, I forgot everything about that test. I didn't much.
Euglenozoa. There's two groups of these. One is the euglenoids. They're photoautotrophs. Their covering is a pellicle, called a pellicle. That's a semi-rigid plasma membrane. They have anterior flagella, and they also have a red eye spot that senses light. So here's a picture of one. Here's that red eye spot. The flagella would be, this is the anterior end, the flagella would be up there. This is actually a euglena, which is a euglenoid. And this is its little tail. It can change shape, that's why it's not totally rigid. They're interesting to watch also. They're in water. You can find them in water as well. So one type is the of these euglenozoa are the euglenoids. The other one is the hemoflagellates. These are blood parasites. They get transferred by bites of blood-feeding insects. They have a long, slender body and an undulating membrane. So here's one that you're going to need to know for your lab practicum. It is Trypanosoma brucei gambiense. And you're going to need to know what it causes. It causes African sleeping sickness. It's from the bite of a tsetse fly. And that one you can find in Africa. Trypanosoma cruzi causes Chagas disease. This one you find in South America. I had an entomology instructor that had Chagas disease from his many trips to South America. It's from the bite of what they call the kissing bug. They call it that because it bites you on the face.
Oh.
And this trypanosome, which is a protozoa, is in its feces or poop. So when it bites you, it poops at the same time, and then if you scratch, you know, it could just get in the wound, or if it wasn't lucky enough to get in that way, if you scratch, then you'll get it into the wound. So here's one that you need to find. This, you can find this same picture on the internet. Get it someplace where you're looking at it all the time so you're familiar with it for your lab practicum. This will be on your lab practicum, I promise you. Helminths, those are parasitic worms. They're divided into flatworms and roundworms. Phylum Platyhelminthes are the flatworms, and those in turn are divided into two groups called the trematodes and the cestodes. Trematodes are what we call flukes. They actually look like, if you see a picture of them, they look like a leaf. They're flat, they have a leaf-shaped body. They have suckers to hold them in place in their host. One of them is Paragonimus. That is a lung fluke. And you can look on page 346 of your book and look at the life cycle. The adults live in the bronchioles of mammals. They are hermaphroditic, so they can fertilize themselves, and they